weeks since Kamisato Ayato, pictured here, has been released and debuted, and now it's my turn to do a review for him. So I know that other bigger streamers already posted their reviews, obviously, and they've had access to the so-called media server, early access, where they're able to play with like a C6 whatever version of him, for like a few weeks or whatever before the actual game that launched him. But anyway, for us regular players, even though I got him on the first day that he launched, I haven't had full time to really just focus on building him. But I finally built him. I had some plans over the weekend, so here we are. Otherwise, I was planning to get it on the weekend. But anyway, let's get to it, shall we? But before we begin, make sure that you guys are subscribed. Hit the like and the thumbs up; it would really help. And feel free to leave me comments and questions as well. Did you guys get your Ayato? Did you go for his Haran? I don't know if you guys checked out my other videos when I was pulling for the Haran, but we'll get into that. But basically, I didn't get it, unfortunately. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get it unless I'm super lucky somehow and I can get it from like the one-off daily wishes that I have from Welkin and from doing the commissions. Like really it's just one wish here and there, or any event wishes. I don't know, but I'll keep you guys posted if I do get it, of course. But anyway, let's get to it. So here's my Ayato. I just finished building him today, actually. But I wouldn't say that he's like fully perfect, but I would say he's built to a certain level. You'll notice that he's only level 85 out of 90. I don't have enough Mora, but I figured that's okay. That's a pretty good indicator. Like I was gonna leave him at 80 out of 90, but I decided let's just add a little bit more. So I did beef him up a little bit, but yeah, so that's what he's at. Okay, so here we have, I would prefer my crit rate to be higher, but I just didn't get the Haran, unfortunately. That was the reason why I wanted to go for it, to bring this to like closer to 70 or something like that, but nope, that's okay. So unfortunately, it's not high enough, but it is okay. The crit damage is decent. Energy recharge is okay, it could be higher. And then like you can ignore the resistance stuff because of the team composition that I currently have. That's why there's the 15% extra resistance. Weapon-wise, okay. So I will be posting a separate video about this. I did talk about it briefly in my pre-release video, but I'll post a separate video talking about his actual weapon options. But we'll kind of go over it here too, obviously. And it's pretty clear what it is. But in any case, I've given him the Black Sword, which is the Battle Pass weapon, and I have it at R5. No one else is using it, and this is basically like a cheaper version of the Haran. It does not look aesthetically pleasing on him, to be very honest. It doesn't match him at all. It's definitely not a katana, but it is what it is. Of course, and the crit rate could be higher, the base attack could be higher, everything could be better, but it's not horrible, and it does at least emphasize giving him normal and charge attack bonus, right? And there's some HP, etc. Healing there. Not that that matters. But anyway, let's talk about weapons briefly here. So he would do fine with the Mist Splitter, the Primordial Jade Cutter, and the Skyward Blade. Basically, those would be his good 5-star options because he does have energy issues, like any of the Inazuma characters. He will not do well with the Freedom Sworn and not necessarily with the Aquila either, so you can skip those. You can skip Cinnabar, it's not meant for him. The Amanoma was my other option that I was going to give him, but I ended up giving him the crit rate one instead because just again, like I just barely passed 50% on that, so that's why. Whereas this doesn't have a crit rate subset, so I'll be even lower then. The other option is if you've been around since 1.2, Festering Desire, I already mentioned this before, but this is not a bad weapon choice for him. Black Sword is the one that I have, and then Black Cliff is the opposite one that you could also go for for those of you who do not do the Battle Pass, which is fine because that is a slightly low spending option. But Black Cliff is completely free to play as long as you save up, and some people even recommend not bothering with getting the higher refinements on this, and that's okay too. As long as you can get at least one copy of this, that's fine. I always recommend the Black Cliff weapons as good placeholders until you get better weapons. So this would have been his other option, but I wanted to go for the crit rate because he actually ascends with crit damage. That's why his crit damage can be higher. So that's why I didn't want to over kill the crit damage. But yeah. All right, and then prototype. This is not necessarily good. This is basically like the craftable version of Aquila, so it's not necessarily for him. He's not really a physical damage dealer. Sacrificial energy is okay if you have nothing better because it does at least give him energy. If you have no other better energy option for him and he needs energy, then this is okay. At least you can hit his skill twice. However, because usually that's the bulk of his damage actually, so it's not horrible, but I wouldn't say that this is like his best bet because the base attack is actually low. The flute is actually like a blah option, but this is definitely a very early game friendly and free to play friendly weapon, but it's not like the best for him, but at least the passive helps with his attack. so it's okay, but it's not the best. And then Favonius, of course, is a very universal placeholder, so that's okay. Again, try to switch them out if you can later on and rebuild him if you have to. And then Lansmore is not applicable to him here unless you specifically want to pair him in a Pyro or Electro team comp. Okay, artifacts. So I have a non-common set here. And this is one I had from kind of like on the first day I pulled him, I gave him this. So in the end, I ended up just leveling up this because I did not pre-farm the Heart of Depth domain, and I did not even start farming his actual new domain. I haven't actually been playing actually anything for the game other than the mini event really quickly and just doing the basic daily commissions, etc. So I've given him what I had left over. So you'll notice the 4-piece set for the Shimenawa. At least the 2-piece set is plus 18% attack, which is very universal. The 4-piece set, when casting an elemental skill, which is the bulk of his damage, the character has 15 or more energy, they will lose 15, and then the normal and charge and plunging attack damage is increased by 50% for 10 seconds, and this will not trigger again. So it's not horrible. So he's basically sacrificing some energy to get some more damage. It's not horrible, okay? It's not may not be his best. Obviously his best will be the Echoes set, but or even the Heart of Depth. But you know what? I'm not going to refarm the Heart of Depth just for him, unfortunately, and I haven't started farming that other dungeon yet because I don't think I even need to farm that now because I have this set and it's okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. So let's just get to it. So you'll see that the substats are not the best, but they ended up being okay. Like it's a mixture of things because he does scale a little bit off of HP actually. So pardon when I said in my pre-release or my early debut, etc., where I said he doesn't scale off. That was my mistake. I did post a pinned comment to correct myself because I later read it properly because I was just skimming it on that video. So he does scale a little bit off of HP, so that's okay too, right? It's not as bad. And then he does need energy, as you can see, and of course he does need crit rate and crit damage. So that's basically where we left it. So I gave him a crit damage piece here. I did not have a crit rate one that was good. That's why. Had I had a crit rate one here, this would have been the opposite. I would definitely have given him crit rate instead. But even then, I may not need to. I don't know, because that would have put his crit rate really high, and then his crit damage may not have been as high. That's okay. So anyway, and then Hydro here, and then attack here. Constellation-wise, I do have him at C0. I don't recommend getting any constellations for him, but I will just quickly go over this. This one will just give you an extra 40% against opponents that are 50% HP or less. This one, the maximum stack count is increased to 5, and when he has at least 3 stacks, his maximum HP is increased by another 50%, which then increases his damage because he has HP scaling. So these are really nice, but they're not necessary. This is plus 3 levels. This one is after his burst, Suiyu, all nearby party members will gain 15% increased normal attack speed. So it's not like the best thing, but it's okay. That also should apply to himself because it did not say excluding him, right? So then more attack speed means that when he unleashes his elemental skill, he can get a few more slashes in, which is good. This is plus 3 levels. The last one is after he uses his E skill, Ayato's next attack will create 2 extra strikes when they hit the opponents, so each one dealing 450% of his attack as damage. So this will just buff up extra attacks, basically, literally. And it's not horrible. It's pretty good, actually, but not necessary. Talents. Okay, so originally, again, this is the long one where I misread that there is a slight HP scaling here. So that's why your main focus for priority is this one, actually, because that's what you're going to mostly do his damage with. You will want to pair his rotation so that you have a Q burst. I'm not going to read the description, of course, but you're going to Q burst to increase, his abilities, basically, because while it exists, it will constantly rain down and it increases the normal attack damage of the characters within. So that's why you would want to probably, if you can, cast his burst first and then cast this within that burst, and then it will buff up his normal attacks, because here his normal attacks turn to hydro damage. I also made the mistake, I think Moga, not to call him out, but he also made the similar mistake where we misread it and we thought that the normal attacks this normal attack actually would also be buffed, but it's not. The E skill here has its own multipliers for its normal attacks, and the normal attacks are just renamed here. You'll notice that it just goes 1, 2, 3, and then it kind of goes again to 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming that's what it is. Even though you can definitely get in, I think some people said you can get in like 15 strikes if you're really fast, right? So then, yeah, I guess it's just 5 sets of 3 essentially, right? Whereas for this one, although it has 5 hits, but then these ones don't are not counted in that because these are the regular normal attacks that don't turn to hydro damage. In case that's just to clarify for anybody. So I should not have bothered even leveling this, but I did. As you can see, to 7. I should have left it at 6 or even less, but that's okay. So your priority again is the E, and then it's the Q, or both preferably, and get them as high as possible. I'm going to leave them at 8 for now, but of course, over the next few weeks, I'll be leveling it up to 9. I'm not sure if I'm going to crown him, but at least 8 or 9, at least for the characters that I like, which I do like him. This one is after it is used for his E skill, he'll gain 2 Nami-Sen stacks, which is those hydro stacks basically. And then when the water illusion, so his little taunt, when it explodes, then he'll gain another Nami-Sen effect equal to the maximum number of stacks possible. So that's fine. Then this one, so then this will just basically once it blows up, then he'll just get the maximum stacks. And then if Kamisato Ayato is not on the field and his energy is less than 40, he will regenerate 2 energy for himself every second. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. And then lastly, this one is just cooking. It's not a big deal. Super suspicious dishes is not a big deal. All right, let's get to it. And in terms of team compositions, he's actually very universal. He can be with any build, basically. I would just say like he's good with, I guess in this case, I'm pairing him with Shangling and Raiden Shogun. I actually really like him with Raiden Shogun, I'll be honest. People did say that he's not so good in terms of activating every single vape or every single freeze or every single, no, sorry, not every single vape or I think vape was the main one that people said. Like with Shangling, it's okay because her thing goes around her, right? So then there's some time in between. But he wasn't that effective when it came to, I forgot who it was, but someone, I think it was with other Pyro characters, basically, like long story short, yeah. With Freeze, he's very consistent, so very good with Ayaka, very good with Ganyu, right? He'll be fine. Who else? Let me see. With Electro, he's good because they said that he's like a variation of a taser comp. But then the end of the day, like they didn't think that other people did not think that he's like the best or the most strongest character, and he doesn't really bring anything new to the table. I will agree with that statement. He does not, and I said that in my early release and early debut, pre-release and early debut. Video as well. I don't think he brings anything new to the table, but he's definitely a fun and easy to use character. He's definitely very user-friendly and free-to-play friendly. You don't need anything extra from him. As you can see, I'm doing this, and it's pretty okay. And then there's this, of course, which I can do, and then I'm going to team it up with... Oh, I don't have her thing up, so it's unfortunate. So we'll just do it with this. Yeah, so, like, it's not horrible, but, like, yeah, essentially, it's not bad. He's definitely very free-to-play friendly. The reason why I think many people are saying that he doesn't bring anything new to the table, and I agree with this statement, is that there are already, although there are not that many Hydro DPSs, and although he's a very popular character, don't get me wrong, he got a lot of sales in the China region, and he was #1 in the Japan region, by the way. But then, if we go to actual like damage and usage, I personally have already like leveled up my child, and I already said this early on because I used my child already in the Abyss, and I got him his signature weapon. Not to say that my child is super strong or anything like that, but I'm already very used to using my child already, so I don't feel that Ayato brings anything new to the table. But for those of you who skipped child and didn't care for him, even though he had 3 runs already, that's fine. Then like Kamisato Ayato definitely is easier to use because some people don't like the fact that child, you have to swap his like stance and all that stuff, and there's a timer technically on his stance. Right, so yes, Kamisato Ayato is much more easier to use. So I would say he's a very user-friendly and free-to-play friendly character. So yeah, for that reason, I think it's great. Had I gone the Haran, he'll be even stronger and probably even better, and I would have a higher rating for him. But for now, I would rate him as a pretty good character. But I would also want to say here, he's not a must-pull character unless you really like his gameplay, his design, his aesthetic, personality, all that. Or if you need him for a Hydro DPS. For example, if you don't have Child, and if you didn't care for rebuilding your I'm just trying to, let me just quickly bring up the Hydro characters if I can. Maybe that's faster. Because I'm trying to scroll through and I didn't have, okay. So I'll skip the ones at the top. So like, as you guys noticed, I rebuilt my Kokomi recently, so she can be somewhat of a support DPS, but also a healer, so then that's okay, right? But if you don't have her, and that's fine, most people did not care for her, and of course Barbara's useless in that sense, but yeah, and then Xingqiu doesn't fill that void, but he definitely can vape and stuff, and pairs really well with Hu Tao. So really, if you didn't have Child and you didn't care for him, then yes, Ayato would be someone to fill that void because there are not that many Hydro DPS characters. However, we also know that Mona it can be in that role too if you got her from losing 50/50 or Extender Banner. And also remember, in the next patch, 2.7, Hoyoverse already teased that the next Hydro character will be Yelan, and she was already teased in the Archon quest. I didn't play the Archon quest yet, but I know that she's teased there already because it's all over the internet. It's not a spoiler, it's not a leak, it's official. She's there, right? And they already said that she's coming, so she will be a Hydro Bow user, a 5-star, and she's meant to be a sub DPS or support DPS or maybe DPS. We don't know officially, but she's supposed to be, I think, a damage dealer more or less, right? So yeah, I would say depending on what you are going for, if you want Kamisato Ayato, definitely go for him, or if you're waiting for Yelan, wait for her. But if you already have Child like me and you like Child, you may not feel that he's necessary. And what he can do, other characters can do too. Like, for example, the slashes, like Raiden Shogun, in my opinion, does it better, of course. And when it comes to that AoE that's like Hydro, that's really nice. But as we know, like it's basically like another AoE like field that's similar to like Ganyu, etc. And I don't even use my Ganyu right now. So anyway, I will say that he's actually a really good character to have, and I'm happy that I got him. I would have been happier if I got the Haran, but that's okay. I want to leave that here. What do you guys think? Do you guys like Kamisato Ayato? Did you guys get him? Are you guys going to get him? Do you think that he's actually better than what I think? Because I think that he has lots of potential to be even better, but I think that right now my current build for him is pretty okay. It's not the best. I may rebuild him in the future and do an updated review if I was to get farm and get good pieces for his echoes. But right now, I'm happy with the Shimenawa set, and I've seen other players use the Gladiator 4-piece, which is a good one, as well as the Heart of Death, which is also good as well. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much, and we'll see you there.